Chapter 8, Friedrich. Wanieniekvu was excited to meet someone knowledgeable about history, and spoke with confidence, saying, "One of my ancestors was Irish and many looking for work served a overseer during slavery. Some were and gentlemen, some were not. But my ancestor left that entire market during the, what they have called, the Devil's Pun Ball. Where 22 black men during the Civil War were murdered in a mass grave, a horrendous crime they treated from history." Friedrich shook his head. "Yes, even I speak am reminded that even after the Civil War, most horse trainer, groom, and jockey were our people in a sport, back then, called the Kentucky Derby. In fact, of the 28 winning jockeys of the first Kentucky Derby, 15 of them were our people. However, we were banned from the sport, on the Jim Crow era. Began. But about 80 years later, we produced men like Marlon Saint-Julien, Kevin Krieger, and Oliver Lewis. Oliver Lewis was born into slavery but won first place in the inaugural Kentucky Derby of 1875. There was a young man. Friedrich posed, "Damn, his name is at the tip of my tongue. Soup, that was his name." At 15, James Soup Perkins became one of the youngest jockeys to win the Kentucky Derby, and another man, Isaac Burns Murphy, was known as one of the best jockeys to ever race. Yes, we all heard of Meghan Markle, but she was not the first black woman to become a member of the British royal family, if it matters, but Queen Sophie Charlotte, the wife of King George III, was. Wanieniekvu, smiling in agreement, "Yes, I have heard of those, but did you know that during slavery, there were a series of revolt and rebellion by slave against their master? In Britain, they ended the British slave trade in 1807, through Parliament, but it wasn't the end of slavery itself, it wasn't a provision to free those who were already enslaved. At the same time, slavery persisted, especially in the Caribbean. The act only made the buying and selling slaves from British ships illegal. However, the slaves in Barbados took it freed them, but they weren't, causing the Barbados Revolt of 1816. Wanieniekvu smiled, "I never been to Africa or any place other than Louisiana, until now, so I speak about my history and what comes close to home and I see that you on it, on an international level and that is different from me. I might know it but it sounds different from someone who more." Friedrich politely interrupted Wanieniekvu. "That is precisely it, because I never heard of this Devil's Pun Ball. African history is, you say, it closely to home than American slavery." Wanieniekvu smiled, "That makes sense. Well, we can definitely learn what is missing in both of our understanding of them both." Friedrich shook his head. "Yes, we can, please continue." Wanieniekvu smiled, "Okay, well, it was rare for our people to have control over an enormous amount of land. However, Reverend Isaac Simmons, from Amite County, Mississippi, owned over 270 acres of that free land. His family worked the land, produced crops and sold the wood of the land. A rumor was started that there was oil on his land, and a group of white men showed up on Simmons' land and warned him to stop cutting lumber. Knowing what was about to happen, Mr. Simmons consulted with a lawyer, a man who practiced law, to work out the dispute and ensure that the property would belong to his children in the event of his death. Later, the men kidnapped and shot Simmons 3 times, cut out his tongue, and gave the rest of the family 10 days to get off the land. Like always, an all-white jury acquitted them, and they successfully stole his land." Friedrich posed, "But it's especially sad when your own people, whether or not flesh and blood, betray you. That is something that cut worse than a knife can ever do. Whether for money, power, or position, it doesn't matter. Selling out your own is the worst kind of betrayal, and justice must be taken to that point to bring about peace, and these demons are doing far worse than we as people have ever encountered. I've seen what they were doing to our people, and it is excruciating to see the cruelty." Wanieniekvu said, "I like you, a man after my own heart. Who loves about and knows a little about history. Friedrich Smiled, a little. John Brown, the man mentioned in Frederick Douglass' letter to Harriet Tubman, a name almost unknown to most Americans, although was the frontrunner of some of the most important moments in the 19th century. Brown's name was lost to history until 2020 when there was a miniseries about him named The Good Lord Bird, but it did him just a little justice for they showed him a crazy man, a Bible fanatic. Like you have to be crazy to see the injustice of a race of people. Let me tell you, his tie to slavery not only led him into non-violent resistance but to active, violent terrorism, which would cause many deaths and lead up to the Civil War. At 12, Brown recalled watching a black boy being beaten by a man with an iron shovel right in front of him. An everyday incident in America profoundly affected Brown's attitude toward slavery through his entire life. I grew up and had a family, he always kept his disgust with slavery, but it had to take a tragedy to put his wheels in motion. Elia Parrish Lovejoy was also an outspoken opponent of slavery, which his community met with intense hostility. He was sandestry, his office were attacked, and eventually, he was gunned down and killed. The slaying of Lovejoy disgusted John Brown, and he vowed to work for the rest of his life to carry on Lovejoy's work and oversee the abolition of slavery. A difficult task for Brown because he was broken, on top of that, had health problems that had plagued his family. Yet, he would not give up and made his way to Boston to join the anti-slavery crusade. Brown and his family arrived in Boston when the city was transforming into a central hub of anti-slavery activity. Mind you, Boston was one place that dealt with and was famous for slave farm. Wanienyekevu said, "Yes, I'm aware of that, and it produced the word motherfucker from that event, for slaves were forced to have sex with their children to produce better so-called stock like they do with bull and horse." Friedrich said, "We will have to talk in depth on that, he didn't know all that. He knew about the slave farm, but didn't know that part," he shook his head with disappointment, "damn." Anyway, Brown immediately threw himself into the organization and became a crucial figure in the running of the famous Underground Railroad. The government deemed the Underground Railroad deeply subversive. It led to the establishment of the Fugitive Slave Act, which permitted bounty hunters to capture slaves and return them to their so-called master, and some were, well, you know. In response, Brown turned away from non-violent action and established a vigilant group known as the League of Gileadites to protect slaves from being captured. While Brown's activities were primarily non-violent, at first, this changed when pro-slavery force invaded Kansas, where his sont lived. The violence during this period was the intense, but brutal beating of the anti-slavery Senator Charles Sumner. Brown was not forgiving and retaliated. Brown and his comrades murdered 5 of the men 2 days after the beating, which caused brutal violence. During this, one of his sons was killed. After seeing the death of his son, it is not clear how many pro-slavery men were killed by Brown, but he is willing to use violence spread through the United States, for some led him a hero and daughter a dangerous terrorist. Over the next few years, Brown's violent activity would escalate. He gathered a force of 22 vigilant and attacked Harper Ferry, which contained an armory. The tension of the vigilant group was to seize the weapon and spark a revolution that would lead to the abolition of slavery by force. However, the U.S. Marine attacked the vigilant, and many of Brown's allies and 2 more of his sons were killed. Brown refused to surrender, saying he would rather die than give up to the soldiers. He was knocked unconscious, arrested, and sent to prison. They charged and sentenced him to death. The court held him in total contempt, saying, "Wanienyekevu interrupted Friedrich, had he so interfered with the rich, the powerful, the intelligent, the greater on behalf of any of their friends, it would have been all right, and every man would have took it worthy of reward rather than punishment. Wanyenyekevu continued, day on him to death in Virginia. He was 59. After his death, the Civil War broke out in the United States, leading to the abolition of slavery. Yes, I have definitely heard of John Brown, but I didn't know all that. Okay then, according to my belief and knowledge, Africans are the first human on Earth. Many have heard it but do not believe it to be true. Because our history was altered, they and others have been feeding everyone lies. The oldest human remain found by archaeologists is that of a Negro, brown or black person, whatever you want to call us, it helps prove the fact that African created civilization and that various African tribe inhabited region outside of Mother Africa. Just the other day I was doing some research on one such group, the Twa tribe of Africa, who were the first people to live in Ireland. They were also referred to Akan by other African tribe and the well-known word Leprechaun by the European. Leprechaun comes from the Old Irish word, Luchorpan, a compound name composed of lu, meaning small and corp, meaning body. They venerated the great black mother and had women a leader of their tribe. There have been many tales talked about Leprechaun and their magical powers. Many people believed them to be a fairy tale, but in reality, they existed. The Twas were small men and women who grew to about 4 foot 11 inches. They were skilled craftsmen who migrated from Africa to Ireland thousands of years ago and had advanced knowledge of medicine, metallurgy, textile, and clothing. Manufacturing. Excellent shoemaking, which the Caucasian at that time in human existence took was magical. Various authorities have confirmed the presence of the Twa people in history and archaeology. British Egyptologist Gerald Massey, Albert Churchward, and the Scottish historian David McRitchie, the British antiquarian Godfrey Higgins have researched this topic and they have shed light on the Twa people. Using names such as Black a Ethiopian, Kumnigri Jantibu, Nimble-footed Blackamoor to describe them. But de Partolan, Fomorian, Nemed, Firbolg, Tuatha de Danann, Milesian of Ireland, and the Pict of Northern Scotland were all blacks. Historians describe them a dwarf, dark elf, or leprechaun in Irish history. There's even a book by David McRitchie entitled Ancient and Modern Briton, which stated that the wild tribe of Ireland were black men is hinted at by the fact that a wild Irishman is in Gaelic a black Irishman or Dubereanac. The word dub in Gaelic is black. Like in many parts of the world, there are accounts of Europeans committing, eliminating, or going to war with African tribe through history. Entire tribes have been wiped out through human history and they are one of them. Many believe that the Irish celebration of St. Patrick was the hunting down of the Twa people. The reason for the Irish holiday is a poem that is said to reveal a hidden meaning, a moral or political one at that. According to the Irish, back in the 5th century, St. Patrick exterminated Ireland's snack by driving them all into the sea. The Irish end. Christian make it sound like he saved the Caucasian people from real deadly snack, but that is false. No evidence point to the existence of snack, even being in Ireland. Ireland never had snack, there are no snack in Iceland, Hawaii, New Zealand, Greenland, or Antarctica for the same reason. You see, Ireland was once connected to a large landmass during the Ice Age, and the land was far too cold for any cold-blooded reptile to survive. Ireland became cold when the glacier melted thousands of years ago, pour un more cold water between Ireland and its neighbor. Other animals, like wild boar, lynx, and brown bears, made it across. Also, only a single reptile, the common lizard, was able to make it. Snack, however, missed their chance to survive in Ireland. So, there was no way St. Patrick could have chased Snack into the sea with his religious powers. The Twa people are the Snack chased out and killed. The Twa people, just like many African tribes, were with, just like the serpent. The Twa, just like many ancient African tribe, were also referred to Anaga, Nagar, and Negus, which loosely means serpent people or people of the serpent. Friedrich nodded his head. He knew about the first part, but didn't know about the last part about the snake. It makes sense that the Urae or serpent crown on Egyptian and Nubian royalty was known as the Nagar or the Negus, symbolizing wisdom, power, and protection. African culture and religion have long used the serpent to represent eternal life, regeneration, power, protection, and wisdom. Wanyenyekevu nodded, it is fitting that the allegory of serpent clearly point to the two people. It's safe to say that Saint Patrick was mostly a warlord and celebrated his role in eliminating and chasing the two into the sea, where they met their death. Everyone knows black people ruled Russia and Europe during the Dark Ages. Friedrich smiled, that fia well, they called it the Dark Ages. Wanyenyekevu smiled, you sound like me, and I'm interested too. Know more about you, and how you came to this part of the country, all the way from south, excuse me, Azania. Friedrich posed, you can say South Africa or Azania. We have our history here well. Apartheid was a well-known fact, and we have our heroes and legends like Steve Biko, Shaka Zulu, Mangosuthu Buthelezi, Nkosi Johnson, Thabo Mbeki, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and of course, Winnie and Nelson Mandela. Our history is not much different from here. Anyway, from North America, my ancestor Eddie Jerome Updike was a powerful warrior force about, and my great ancestor, his mother, Akela Malek, said this to keep us on track. Wanyenyekevu interrupted him, hold on, he heard that name, quite a few times since he've been on this journey. She's your ancestor. Friedrich, with a smile, yes, a noble woman in her time, she said, they may steal my crown, but they will never steal my glory. Those words are written in my DNA. He will rise. Friedrich posed, she served Sabaoth and brought many to knowledge and wisdom, and many of her descendants and followers kept the faith to the present day. She, too, kept the faith, and he did too until my father died, and he became one of the most infamous murderers of all time. He killed the men who murdered my father and anyone who spoke down on my people, no matter their color, race, creed, or gender. He was an angry militant drunk. Hell, if they talked badly about our women, dead. Traveled the world, killing racist people. When he was about your age? He was on my way to Israel to kill some of those fake SS Jews, but he had to pass the whole ruin of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, which claimed to possess the Ark of the Covenant, or Tabo, in Axum. Where he met a man who late. Wanyenyekevu interrupted, Mlezi. Friedrich said, but of course, Mlezi. That was 15 years ago, and he have the gift of the Shekinah glory. Only enlightened people see it, he just glow like a bright light to them and he can charge you back up when you're weak and down with a touch. That is my gift, a spiritual battery chargée. Oh, and evil cano comme Nirato lead burns them to come at least 50 yards. He can feel their spirit burning, like a tingling sensation. Wanyenyekevu was excited about hearing Friedrich's story. But how did you get here? And in Jai, on top of that. Friedrich logged, that is a long story, but it involved that man that was just arrested. While here, he found that book in my cell, and he just started reading it to help the time pass when he got to that part that you heard me reading, he heard Mlezi say, meet Frederick Douglass, Harriet, and you. Come to my cell. Wanyenyekevu shook his head, well then, come meet the rest of us. Friedrich said, the 12, right? Well, 11, I guess, he make 12. He was supposed to meet 11 more people who were Sabaoth's chosen warriors to lead the way. They entered the room where Jom and the rest of the warriors were eating. Before Wanyenyekevu could introduce Friedrich to them, the stones professed gave them began to shine. Elisha and Elia said, the man with the glow. Friedrich Smiled, saying, that S11, including myself, where is number 12. Just then, Queen walked in. There she goes, number 12. Queen, confused, asked, what is he talking about? Queen shook her head, never mind, we need you in this meeting, but ILL tell them you are still eating. Wanyenyekevu shook his head, no, we ILL come now and eat latte. Walking alongside Queen, the warriors were tired, and Friedrich said to Wanyenyekevu, take care of your people and serve Sabaoth with all your heart, and they shall bless you. Wanyenyekevu said, I have done that, haven't I? Everyone shook their head, yes. Friedrich then said, everyone except one. Wanyenyekevu stopped, who? Friedrich smiled, everyone except yourself. Rest, and build up what you have gotten so far, because a war is coming, and you must be prepared. Love is a mighty thing. He looked over at Queen and continued. Sabaoth want you to find love and make yourself complete. Then he looked at Queen again, and they continued to walk towards the meeting. Wanyenyekevu talked about what Friedrich said, but as soon as they entered the meeting room, Dark Eagle said, Wanyenyekevu, we are still determining how to divide the land. We don't see how to organize the people, nor the land. Wanyenyekevu talked for a minute and said a Dark Eagle projected a map on the wall, we are now in possession of land from Picacho Peak State Park to Tucson, from Tucson to the Watchtower, from the Watchtower to Medina Altanwir, and from Medina Altanwir to Colonia Anahuac, but Abunyansti surround US Phoenix, to the north of US, El Paso, Texas, to the east, and the Isle of California to the west. I advise we encase ourselves with the military. The warriors and their family, then the civilian. We must be structured to keep order and peace, and he must check all that live here and search their hearts. A huge task, but it must be done. We cannot live in peace, when evil is in our midst. It will take some time, but it's time that he settle down and do the will of Sabaoth because a great war is coming, and all must be enlightened. All will not be warriors, but all will be enlightened. Sabaoth knows what we need, and they shall supply your need. Once the enlightenment is finished, we will have all we need. Studying the map, a while longer, et continued, Friedrich will be our adjudicator, and the rest of the warriors will have their army. Friedrich turned to Wanyenyekevu, mais he had, at first, this was Sabaoth's world, but the day that this planet rejected him and was about to be destroyed was when it became Satan's turn to rule this planet. Satan was trying to control it from the beginning, but now, it's Satan's world because the evil hearts of men. Sabaoth has allowed Satan to control it while Sabaoth gather his people. We will embark, meaning we will have a few battles here and there, but he is still chained up and cannot harm us until he is released from his chain. Think not, he doesn't know what you have done because he does, but one day, he will get loose. So, clear the evil-hearted men from among us, regardless of race, color, or religion. He don't care if it's your mother. An evil-hearted person must not live within your walls or know what you are doing, lest Satan creeps in and take all you have, even your soul. For we are what we've done in this life and what has been done to us created us so, that is what he will use against us therefore. We must seek enlightenment and let Sabaoth use us as he please. Friedrich posed, Mlesi visited me, and they said that Sabaoth will steer in the waters of the Gulf and the Atlantic in a great paw, and this fist will go through the bottom of the earth and will send a slow flood, and many cities will be underwater, and some will disappear forever. We will be in many battles, but after this event and the land become DRY, a great battle shall come, and we must send all who cannot fight to the home of the south until the battle is over. Friedrich said down, he would rather die for Sabaoth, than die for myself. And the people heard this word and repeated them. He would rather die for Sabaoth, then die for myself. Friedrich continued, we must pray the prayer of Sabaoth when we go into these battles. My alliance is with heaven, where dwell those who reside in the holy high realm. It is to them I commit this battle, and they will fight for me. Selah. Friedrich then shouted. Uzizao. They looked at Friedrich and they smiled, it means, never forget. They all shoo, Uzizao. 4 hours, Dark Eagle and his family, alongside Wanyinyekevu and the warriors, stayed up all night organizing their plan and deciding what to do and how to do it. After the meeting, everyone was tired, but they all agreed with this new plan. Wanyinyekevu walked into his room and stared at the candle and sat on the corner of his bed. Thoughts rushed through his mind. He grabbed his notepad and wrote, lost and found. Looking for the lost and found, to see if he need, to recover a couple of things. Took 2 people along with me, to help me see. We walked up on escalator, then took some zigzagging steps. Followed by some sliding hallway. At the end of the hallway was a sign. Lost and found. He saw a young lady, he haven't seen in 21 years. Why didn't you come through the side doors, you're messing up my floor. He replied, all these years, you still yelling, fussing, and cursing. I rushed to go towards the back. The sight of her brought back pain, betrayal, and tears. On my way there. Ici Someone he hadn't seen in 15 years. A rude bastard, who was mean. He asked, why are you still mad? He replied, oh, you're bad. Confused look on my face, I rushed to get Agathe. Started shooting up the place, he felt disgrace. Told my friends, who were with me then, let's get out of this place. But he took you wanted to find something you lost, one said. He replied with a smile. He just realized, he didn't lose anything, he dropped those things on purpose. Because they hindered my life. A crazy how it sounds. He lost them, so he could be found. He wrote, oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my, was the cry of an old man Yonsk knew. He prayed to the Father about his blessing, his trial. Death he endured during his lifetime. 80 years in the world, some good and of course, some bad. Many sad. Oh my, was his reply. Remembering the days, frustration in life. But at all times he had a smile, etched upon his face. Now, I listened to him pray, having that conversation with his maker. Thinking he is going to live soon, one day. Oh my. He sighed. To think about him. What happened to him? It seemed like it was just the other day, a stroke rushed across his hat. Lost one of his leg. Now, praying today. He sit in his house, seeing the grandkid playing. His accomplishments are great and many years have passed. Hoping one day, he can say, before he die. O maître my. He flipped the page over and wrote, Black Harmony. Black Harmony is a thing of the past. Some might say, and even see, and I do agree. But how can he stop this thing that goes on, in this day and age? There's no unity, like in the days of slavery. When many, can't say all, united into black harmony. Black artist, black business, black corporation grow stronger and stronger. But black on black crime fills the air. Foolishness, selfishness, drug and alcohol, seem to be our God. But now, that is Ali. All he can do, so it seems, is just cry. But my eyes have no more tears. Nothing but fear, awaiting black harmony. Et who wrote, Lust. What is lust? En intense longing, désir or need. A craving that many will fulfill at any expense, no matter who it may affect. Selfishness. Is it only sexual? Elle no, that is lasciviousness. You can lust after anything that is conceived. And lust, when it's conceived, bring forth sin. Sin, when it is finished, bring forth death. That is a fact, not fiction. Lust for money was my lust, until he had a dream. Remembering the wisdom of Solomon, the courage of Elia. Then he remembered that dream. My it was, some would say, Kalu, at that time. The day he lay my head down. He was in this room with a lady, that one upward toward a light. Started climbing this ladder and people started to fall. There were all women and all men climbing slowly, but he was in a hurry, to get to the top. So, he started going up the ladder, with no concern about the water. Trying to get to the top, people started to fall, he didn't take care at all. Then I went up, the younger the people got. But he was scared, just wanted to get there to the top. Non-stop. The light got brighter, he got eager. He got all day. Many were fallen and my selfishness, got stronger. Realized the top had no end. It was too late. He had no family, he had no friends. Driven by lust, and died in my sin. Last et rot, I be me. I be me. Now, days me dread, grow too long. Yes, gone too far. But me gotta learn just a few more things, boo me dread on me head. Patience, they have shown me. Wisdom is what it is, me dread on the head, are so important to me, and only me. Cause, he did all things to be someone else. Me dread, help me to be me. Used address to impre, now, he dress for me own success. Is that, okay? Can he be me? C1. For none else will he try to be. He don't really talk like this. But me try to understand all me fellow man. Cause me bin a law of place, me a law of race, a law of face. He read a law of books, boo me lore. Et showed me. Remin l'eau. Humble to dimes, that cause many to be stressed. Yeah. He look in the mirror, humble man of God. So, he try. Trying to go far for he trust in only Jah. No, not a Christian. According to the new standard. No Muslim, no Rasta, he be. He be me.